We open inside a first-class cabin, buzzing with pre-flight energy. Passengers stow luggage, adjust seatbelts, sip champagne. Then, suddenly, tension erupts. A white woman in an expensive fur coat plants herself into a plush first-class seat, ignoring the boarding pass in her hand. The seat, however, belongs to a young black girl traveling with her billionaire father. The girl politely mentions it's her seat, but the woman waves her off with disdain. The air changes. The surrounding passengers glance over, some awkward, some entertained. The woman sneers. "This seat isn't for children like you." Gasps ripple down the aisle. The little girl's father rises slowly, controlled but furious. The camera of our imagination zooms in on the girl's face, stunned, humiliated, but refusing to cry. A silence follows, broken only by the hum of the engines. And just as the flight attendants approach, their expressions unreadable, the narrator's voice cuts in. But what neither the arrogant woman nor the watching passengers knew was that this little girl wasn't just anyone, and within minutes, this flight would never leave the ground. Cliffhanger: who exactly is this child, and why does her presence matter so much? The camera pans outward, a luxury flight departing from New York to Los Angeles, packed with business elites, celebrities, and executives. First class isn't just seating here, it's a statement of status. Everyone in the cabin believes they're part of an untouchable world. The billionaire father, impeccably dressed in a black suit, stays calm, holding back his anger. His daughter, barely 10, wears her crisp white blazer and carries the quiet poise of someone raised to lead. She whispers, "Daddy, it's okay." But her eyes betray the sting of public embarrassment. The attendants hesitate. Should they confront the entitled passenger or risk a scandal by asking a wealthy white woman to move? The audience feels the tension. Every second drags, every passenger is on edge. Social order, who gets dignity, who gets denied, is about to be tested in front of a full cabin. The camera catches murmurs among passengers. "This is ridiculous. She's just a child." Others avert their eyes, unwilling to get involved. But what no one realized, the narrator continues, was that this wasn't just about a seat. It was the moment before the storm. Cliffhanger: what storm is about to hit this flight? The focus shifts to the entitled white woman, dripping with jewelry, her posture screaming superiority. This isn't her first act of arrogance. She's known in elite circles for bullying waitstaff, cutting lines, and flaunting her wealth. To her, rules are flexible, meant only for others. In her mind, a black child in first class is an anomaly, something to be corrected. She rationalizes her cruelty as order. She whispers loudly enough for others to hear. "They probably snuck in here. I'm doing everyone a favor." Flashbacks illustrate her pattern, humiliating a young barista, bribing her way into exclusive clubs, treating staff like they're disposable. Her entitlement has always gone unchecked. And now, she believes she can do the same at 30,000 feet. But the narrator tightens the tension. What she didn't know was that the seat she stole didn't just belong to a little girl. It belonged to someone whose family had the power to change her fate forever. Cliffhanger: who exactly is this billionaire father and daughter? Now, the focus shifts to the little girl and her father. The father, a self-made billionaire, built his empire from the ground up, defying systemic barriers and racial prejudice at every turn. His reputation isn't just money, it's influence, respect, and the quiet power to shift markets with a single call. The girl, raised in this world, carries both privilege and the burden of representation. She's been taught by her parents that her dignity is priceless, that no one has the right to diminish her humanity. Yet at this moment, on this plane, she feels the sting of being reduced to less than because of her skin. We see tender flashbacks. Her father teaching her resilience, her mother reminding her that strength isn't loud, it's steady. The audience begins to admire not just her innocence but the unshakable foundation her parents gave her. And in this moment, that very foundation would become her shield, and the arrogant woman's undoing. Cliffhanger: how will this child's quiet resilience turn the tables? The attendants, under pressure, suggest finding another arrangement. For the billionaire and his daughter, a veiled way of protecting the disruptive woman. Shockwaves of disbelief spread among the passengers. The girl looks at her father, her small hand clutching his sleeve. The woman smirks, adjusting her fur coat, enjoying the silent victory. She leans back and says, "See? Even they know where you belong." The father stands, his voice calm but cutting. "My daughter's seat is here. You will move." The entire cabin freezes. The attendants, flustered, whisper nervously into their radios. The tension builds like a drumbeat. The father's phone buzzes in his hand. He picks it up, steps slightly aside, and dials. His voice drops into a tone of authority. "Ground control. This is name. We have a problem." Passengers exchange bewildered glances. Who exactly is this man that he can make a single call mid-flight boarding? And with that call, the entire balance of power shifted. The oppressor had no idea what storm she had unleashed. Cliffhanger: what's going to happen once that call goes through? The cabin falls into an eerie silence. The woman laughs dismissively, convinced the man is bluffing. "Who are you going to call, the president?" she mocks, drawing a few awkward chuckles from her corner. But moments later, everything changes. The intercom crackles. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain. Due to an urgent situation, this flight has been temporarily grounded." Gasps fill the cabin. Grounded? Before takeoff? Uniformed staff enter the cabin. A supervisor approaches the billionaire father with deference. "Sir, we received your call. We're handling this immediately." The woman's smugness falters. For the first time, doubt creeps into her expression. The staff request her boarding pass. She protests loudly, claiming harassment, but the evidence is undeniable. Her seat assignment doesn't match. She's been caught red-handed. Passengers whip out their phones, recording every second. Whispers ripple. "Who is this man? How did he get the flight grounded with one call?" Some passengers recognize him, their eyes widening. "That's him, the billionaire. The one who owns half the airline's stockholders' board." The woman's voice cracks, desperation replacing arrogance. "You can't do this to me!" But it's too late. Security escorts her off the plane, her protests drowned out by passengers' applause. The little girl, still seated, watches with quiet dignity as justice unfolds around her. By the time the truth came out, the oppressor's fate was sealed. Cliffhanger: what ripple effects will this moment spark beyond the flight itself? The incident doesn't end with the woman's removal. Within hours, video clips of the confrontation spread across social media. Hashtags like #SeatJustice, #BillionaireDad, and #FlightGrounded trend worldwide. News anchors replay the footage, dissecting every detail. Commentators point out the broader implications: racial bias, entitlement, and the unspoken rules of class. The story dominates headlines. Arrogant passenger removed after stealing seat from black billionaire's daughter. The airline scrambles to issue statements, apologizing profusely and pledging new training protocols. Activists seize the moment, calling it proof of how systemic bias operates even in spaces reserved for the powerful. But what mattered most wasn't the punishment. The narrator reflects. It was a lesson that echoed far beyond the flight. Cliffhanger: what will this family take away from the ordeal, and what should we? Back in their rightful seats, the billionaire father looks at his daughter, gently brushing her cheek. "You see?" he whispers. "Never let anyone steal your dignity. Not even for a moment." The girl smiles, her innocence restored, but her poise remains. She has seen injustice, endured humiliation, and witnessed justice delivered, all in a single flight. The narrator's voice softens. This wasn't just a seat. It wasn't just a flight. It was a reminder: dignity is not granted by others, it's claimed, defended, and protected. No amount of wealth, status, or arrogance can strip it away when you stand firm. The story closes with a universal truth: this wasn't only one family's fight. It was a reflection of battles happening everywhere, in schools, workplaces, public spaces. The fight for dignity belongs to everyone. Because this wasn't just one girl's seat. It was everyone's. Cliffhanger, and the movement didn't stop there. The narrator's voice rises one final time. You've just witnessed a story that shook an airplane, rattled an airline, and reminded the world that arrogance and hate crumble when confronted with dignity and truth. The screen fills with comments, tweets, and supportive messages from around the globe. People from every background rally behind the girl, sharing their own stories of injustice and resilience. The narrator leans into the audience. If this story moved you, don't let it fade here. Share it with your friends. Drop a comment with your thoughts. Subscribe for more stories that uncover the truth, stories that demand we don't look away. The outro crescendos with music, visuals of solidarity hashtags, and the girl's calm face in first class, staring out the window as the plane finally takes off. Because the fight for dignity isn't just hers. It's ours.